All right, are we live?
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, hello and welcome everyone again to Live on IFT. This is our 30th episode, and today we are discussing service on IFT, Asana. We have an Asana expert with us today. Um, Asana is a service on IFT with nearly 30,000 user connections. So really excited to talk Asana with you guys today. My name is Ben. I'll be your host. My best friend Tripp, who usually joins me, is not with us today because he just had a baby. So he's welcomed his second son into the world. Taking his place for the foreseeable future will be Chelsea Chin. Um, yeah,
Hey
so Chelsea's
everyone.
with us today. Yeah. Chelsea, do we have any announcements before we introduce our guest?
Just a really quick reminder that college students in the US, UK, and Canada can access our paid plan for 90% off. All you need to do is just sign up at if.com/join using your university email address.
Awesome. Thank you, Chelsea. Chelsea, we have a special guest with us today. As I mentioned earlier, he is an Asana expert. He's the CEO and founder of Surface, a company that streamlines workflows for e commerce and marketing teams using, wait for it, Asana. He's a YouTuber, podcaster, musician, father, husband, and kayaker, all the way from Nova Scotia, Canada. Marquis Murray. Marquis, welcome to Live on IFT.
Thank you so much. So good to be here.
Yeah, likewise. We're happy to have you. Now, Marquis, you're from, I guess, is it considered Northeast Canada or just East Canada?
We just call it the East Coast. We're from the East Coast. If you are
The
Nova
East
Scotia,
Coast.
New Brunswick, PI, you're just an East Coaster. So yeah, but
Got it.
Northeast would be correct. Yes.
Okay. Now, is the name Marquis, is that French?
Um, that's a good question. It is, but I'm not French. I'm Jamaican. As I
Okay.
understand it, the name came from one of my dad's older brother figure friends, and he named me after him out of respect for his friend. So,
Gotcha. Very cool.
but I do not
Well,
speak French. I wish I did.
all right. I know like north. I guess it gets it's above like North Ontario or maybe that north. I don't know exactly. I'm telling you how bad I am with geography, but I know that that's a lot of French speaking people in that
Yes,
area. So
that's right. That's right.
cool. Well, let's real quick get into the agenda for today. So we're going to take some time to get to know Marquis. Obviously, we're going to talk a lot about Asana and his career. Um, then Chelsea and I are going to we're going to do an applet challenge. And basically, the way this is going to work is we're going to pitch some Asana and YouTube applets to Marquis, and Marquis is going to be the judge and tell us who has the highest, or give us scores. Maybe we don't really have a set way to do this, but tell us who has the best applets because we're very competitive here at
Love
IFT.
it.
We're gonna, of course, as always, we're gonna take questions and comments from the audience. Chelsea and I are happy to answer questions about IFT, but we're here every week, so please do try to address your questions to Marquis while we have him today. And finally, at the very end, we are going to give away some IFT swag as always. So today, the item is we're going to give away one of these. Um, I guess they're called Champion pullover hoodies. They're lightweight, they're packable. I'm wearing one right now. Very stylish, very cool. So stay to the end for a chance to win that. And Marky, by the way, we don't really have a sophisticated way of picking the winner, so
Right.
we always usually pick someone that asks some really good questions. So if this
Right.
is your first time here, ask some good questions for Marky, and you might win one of these hoodies. And in addition to the hoodie, you're also going to win a year of Pro Plus, if Pro Plus. So big prize today. All right. So with that said, Chelsea, if you'll take the slides off the screen for a bit, and Marquis, we're certainly going to get into Surface, YouTube, Asana, but first I want to get the audience a chance to get to know you, understand a little bit about your career. If you could just kind of give us a little bit about your background as a way of introduction, and maybe kind of like, how you got started in, e-commerce marketing, and then just kind of from the timeline all the way up to maybe say like the pandemic before you started the YouTube channel and that era of your career.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to take you back to 2015 when my kids were born. I was in corporate operations, and I have twin boys. They're now 8 years old, and I made the decision at that point to leave that job. It was just really demanding, and I knew I wanted to be a father and be there for them. I was moonlighting as a digital marketing freelancer, so I was doing SEO and website builds, and doing some social media and paid ads, things like that, while I was running this full-time job. So when I left the corporate space, I decided to go out on my own, and I did a bit of freelancing. After not that much time, I started working with a local digital marketing agency as a digital marketing manager. They brought me in-house, and I did that for about a year, and then quickly realized that I could do this by myself. Me and the management didn't really see eye to eye. So I branched out, started my own marketing agency, and ran that for about 4 years. Led right up to the pandemic pretty much, but I was able to build my skills in business ownership and running an agency and scaling a team. And it was at that point that I really leaned into my corporate background and wanted to get things organized. And so we were creating templates for how we were deploying our projects. And a lot of our customers that we were doing marketing for, they needed a way to organize their work for their teams. And they also needed a way to organize all their leads and their emails that were going out. And so we started deploying, as a marketing agency, tools like HubSpot, the CRM, and setting up marketing automation. We also helped teams get started with Asana. That's what we were using. So we rolled out Asana for our marketing companies, or clients, I should say. And so the pandemic came, and we saw a huge just drop in our marketing clients. Nobody wanted to spend anything. So it was a weird time. But I had been working on this idea of what it would look like to take the kind of like backseat offering of implementing Asana and HubSpot to the next level. And everyone remembers what 2020 was like, the day of the lockdowns. I made this pivot into systems and processes implementation. And our first real go at it was helping teams that were now remote and displaced for the first time get set up on Zoom and Slack and Asana and figure out how to use all these tools that they've never used before. So that's really where everything started from. And I can fill in the rest later on, but
yeah. Of course. Yeah. I always I guess I never thought about that. Like, people, when the pandemic hit, people had to learn how to, get organized a whole different way. Like, it didn't make sense to have all those meetings. So like Slack became a really big thing. I remember Zoom. I remember watching like the Zoom, like on YouTube, the Zoom gaff videos where like people would just do like really embarrassing stuff or have really embarrassing stuff in the background
yeah,
of their Zoom calls during the beginning of the pandemic, because they just didn't do that, didn't have that, wasn't a part of their world yet. So
yeah.
so
There's that
Asana, sorry, go ahead.
There was that one politician, right, that went viral when his
The
kid came in the room, and he was trying to shush them away. Yeah, we saw a lot of that stuff
Yeah,
going
a
on.
lot of
Now it's
cats, a
normal.
lot of,
Yes,
and they of course
exactly.
got way more embarrassing than that. But
Right.
yeah. So throughout this whole time, you've used Asana, and I guess you use Asana to stay. We're going to get into this as well, but you use Asana for your personal life. You use it for your business. You help people implement Asana and give them best practices about how to use Asana. I guess the question is, why Asana? Why not Trello, Todoist, ClickUp, Akiflow, like another Kanban or time blocking tool? What about Asana is special for you?
Yeah, great question. I mean, I don't know if you're familiar with Amy Porterfield. She runs a podcast and a business called Online Marketing Made Simple. And so I listened to her podcast a lot when I was building my marketing agency. And she recommended this tool that she used with her company called Asana. She used it to run all of their client projects, all of their internal projects as well for their team. And so I thought, let me check this thing out. At the time, I was using Trello. So I had lots of experience with Trello. I tested out ClickUp as well. I love Notion. So I was using Notion as well and, kind of hacking some stuff together. Used Teamwork, I think I said. And there was another one that isn't even around anymore. I had used Todoist, all those different apps. I'd used Google Tasks. I'd used so many different things, but for me, the decision was really an easy one to make. Asana at the time was the one that was the most flexible. You could switch really quickly from a list view to a calendar view to a board view, whereas on Trello, you just had the board view. Other apps, you had to recreate the whole project if you wanted to switch the view. And so for me, it was most flexible. As I was getting started and like training my team, it was the one that was easiest to get going with. You have the little creatures that fly across the screen too when you like complete a milestone or finish a project, and so that was always cool. It's just fun. It was just really easy to use, really easy to get set up. We started on the free plan, and there was just a lot that you're able to do out of the box. So for us, it was a really easy decision to make. And the more that I tested it, the more that I loved it. So that was basically it.
We're going to clip this and we're going to send it to Asana and they're going to put it in their marketing. Yeah, that was a great testimonial. Yeah.
Perfect.
So, okay, I've got an analogy if you don't mind, because, all right. So when I was in school, this is grade school. Every semester, at the end of the semester, a lot of my teachers would always offer extra credit, right? At the end of the semester as a way, I think it was designed to help students that were maybe teetering on failing the class get a chance to get a D or go from a D to a C, or, maybe avoid having to take the final if they were an A student or whatever. And more times than not, it always seemed like it was designed for the kids that weren't doing very well, but it was the A and B students that took advantage, the kids that didn't need it, right? And so I feel like people that get really, and the analogy is this, I feel like people that get really excited about using a tool that organizes things for them are already organized people, right? And you're obsessed with Asana, right? Because I've been down your YouTube road, and I see that you use Asana for your personal life. Give us just paint a picture for us for all the things outside of work that you use Asana for.
I think it'd be easier to answer what I don't use Asana for. Obsessed. I guess I am. I guess I'm obsessed with Asana. I think in Asana, it's like anytime that I'm planning or doing anything, I think in it. So as far as how I'm using it, my whole life is in there. My wife and I have a few projects. One of them is called like Murray Home Tasks. And so we live in a off-grid solar property. So like every month I have to like fill up the batteries. I've got to test the gravity. I've got to like do a bunch of things and like change oil on certain things. So like all that stuff's in there. The honey-do list goes in there. Obviously, we have all of our finances in there. So all the bill payments that come out, the categories that they go into, they're all in Asana. When we pay our mortgage and our car payment, like we check off the task, and then the next recurrence comes up. So all that stuff is in there. I also have projects for all of our assets and investments, all of our like insurance and like clauses and policies are in there. We have all of our documents like driver's license and health cards for the kids and birth certificates and the travel documents. They're all in there. So if we're ever like anywhere we don't have those things, we can easily pull them up in Asana. What else do I do? I'm a musician as well. And so I have like, when I prepare for a set, I play bass. When I prepare for a set, all that information is in there. I have all my set lists inside of Asana. and I can pull up a song really quickly and build a list. So, I mean, there's so much that we do. And actually, it's not funny now, but it's just a thing that I'm more open to talking about now. But last year, we almost lost our home in a fire, a wildfire.
Oh
And
no.
so for like 8 months, it's still ongoing. They're like restoring our home, and our project manager was horrible. So I took it upon myself to manage the restoration project inside of Asana, and I was giving everyone updates on it. So everything was tracked there. Yeah, I'm obsessed with Asana.
Yeah. Okay.
It's all there.
Okay. Well, I think we have a question from the audience real quick. So I'm gonna pop. Oh, yeah, we popped that up on the screen. This is from Peter Curley. Is Asana for teams or for individuals or both?
Great question.
And that's for you, Marquis. Yeah.
Yeah, short answer is both. I think you get the most out of the tool though when you're working with teams. As an individual, you can put your general to-dos in it. You can track what you need to do. If you're managing a team and for whatever reason they're not in Asana, you can manage everything you need to, but you really get the power out of the tool when you're able to assign things to people and track statuses and keep all your communication in there, and have people that are responsible for certain things and know that things are getting done. So yeah, again, both, but it's really built to help teams grow and work better together.
Awesome. Thank you for the question, Peter. So this is the obligatory AI question for the interview. So
Of course, we have to.
when right. So okay, so I know I've watched your video on using AI tools within Asana, and feel free to talk about that. But I think I'd like to just hear from you, like when because everything's chat now, right? Like everyone's using, like when they think AI, they think chatbots, they think Chat GPT.
Yeah.
When let's say in the next 5 years, right, where do you see AI having the biggest impact, whether it's as a part of Asana or in tandem with Asana, but just the biggest impact in productivity?
Yeah.
That's a
I
loaded
think,
question, I know.
no, I mean, there's so much to unpack there. I think we're seeing a lot of it now. If I can, I'll stay on the Asana train because
Sure.
they've rolled out this past year a whole bunch of AI features, and they still have more to roll out by the end of this year. But we're seeing them unfold right now. Where I think we're gonna see the upswing is less chat and more what Asana is doing now. They just rolled out something called Teammates as an example. So where, like, if you and I were working together, Ben and Chelsea, we're all working in a group, I could assign things to you. We could have communication back and forth and, progress through the stages of getting our project to launch. With Teammates, you can assign tasks within projects to an AI teammate. And what they're doing is they're basically sitting in the background the entire time, assessing all of the notes, all of the comments, all of the times where tasks are overdue that should have been completed. And it's looking at dependencies and how that's affecting the project timeline. And it's recommending and suggesting things to you or the project manager to ensure that you stay on the project timeline. So rather than us asking and saying, hey, what is this? Or what does this mean? Or how could I do this? I think AI is going to be so integrated in our work where it will just know things and see things. And as long as we can put a goal together and a timeline, it's going to stop at nothing to get us there. It's going to recommend resources for us. It's going to do research on our behalf. It's going to fill in gaps. It's going to be able to complete actions and tasks as well. Like IFT is a great example, right? Like, why not integrate with Asana? Go out and do this, come back and give it to me. So I think we're going to see a huge upswing in productivity. And often I hear, even when we're building out Asana and people are wondering, how can I best use it? I hear a lot is, I don't know what I don't know. And I think that's what AI is going to do for us. It's going to fill in all the gaps of all the things we don't even know to ask it. And it's going to present information in a way that's going to help us make better decisions, be more productive, and ultimately be more aligned as teams.
Very cool. Yeah, no, that's exciting. It's just really exciting to see what AI is going to do for us, right?
Yeah.
And I'm excited. I really took myself, kind of avoided it for as long as I could, and then I started just trying to I don't know, use chat as much as possible to
Hold you in.
Yeah, I'm addicted now. I really am. Yeah.
Of course.
Looks like we've got a question from the audience from Digita. Chelsea, would you pop that up if you could? All right. So it says, how do you interact with external people such as suppliers or others to organize to your organization to include them into Asana?
Yeah. Great question. Asana has what are called members and then what are called guests. And so a member is anyone with a company domain email. So for us, ours is surface.com. So anyone with a Surface email is a member. They have access to certain things and they're a paid seat. With a guest, you can have, depending on your tier, you can have, as many guests as you need. And so that could be someone with a domain outside of your company. That could be a gmail.com address. You bring them in to whatever projects you're working in, and you can work collaboratively with them in that space. And what's nice is if you don't want your guests to see certain things, you can create a space just for them in a project. And if they are approving things, for example, but you don't want them to see all the back and forth that happens between you and your internal team, you can create another project, take an instance of that task and do what's called multi-homing. So it's just making that instance of the task appear in another project where, again, the guest cannot see everything else. They're only going to see the information you share with them. So that would be my recommendation on the best way to do it. But there are a lot of options of how to work with guests inside of your Asana instance.
Very cool. Great question, Digita. I come from a sales background, and I know that it was always like really tough having, emailing back and forth throughout a sales cycle, right? And it would be nice if there was like, Slack makes it a little easier, right? Because it's a little less formal and people feel more comfortable with just like, quick messages, for progress updates and questions and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But I do think that like having a project, once you start a sales cycle with someone, having a kind of a project management tool that you can share would be really helpful. So yeah, great question. Okay, so let's talk about Cirface then. So your company, you're the founder and CEO of Cirface, and that is spelled CIRFACE. And people can find that. They can go to surface.com. Tell us about who are your customers and what services that you provide. You touched on it a little bit, but elaborate a little bit on the company.
Yeah, sure. So Cirface is a systems improvement consultancy. We work mainly with marketing and e-commerce teams and specifically the leaders of those teams. So our clients are VPs, directors of marketing, brand strategy, communication, PR. That's really our sweet spot. But we also do work with operations teams. We have clients that are in finance. We work with sales teams, IT teams a lot of the time. And some of the things we help them do are to improve their workflows. So we come in and we assess how they're working right now. We look at where the bottlenecks are, and we help them improve upon that, to remove silos, to remove duplicate work, to create standards for the team so that they can, be all marching in the same direction and at the same pace. We conduct Asana group training as well, so that teams have a baseline of how to use the tool. They're learning on our best practices as well. If you're looking just for a quick start, we do audits as well, where we come in and assess how you're using the features and the functions of the tool. And then we do a lot of custom integrations again. So using tools like IFTTT and various others to integrate tools where there's triggers and actions. And yeah, that's really what we do. But really what we're helping these teams, typically in enterprise organizations, get stood up on the tool, learn the best practices, and improve, their day-to-day.
So I appreciate that. So I noticed that you, and I know you probably can't go into too much detail, but I noticed that you, on your list of companies that you worked for, or you've worked with, Barstool Sports is one of them.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Barstool. Big fan of Dave Portnoy. How did you end up working with them? If you could just give us a real short answer on that.
Yeah, sure. Because of our partnership with Asana, we make relationships with a lot of their sales teams as well. And so that came out of an existing relationship with one of the Asana account executives. This team needed some help getting their instance set up, some workflows, and then training their team. And so it was basically just a referral introduction to the team. And then we started working with them. And yeah, that's pretty much the shortest answer I could
Okay.
probably give. But yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right. So, okay, so I'm probably describing myself here a little too much, but let's say someone comes to you, let's say someone, still uses a pen and a pad and writes on a to-do list, on they are an organized person, but they do a lot of pen and pad to-do lists. They do a lot of Excel sheets. They probably use their calendar. Their Google Calendar is probably their main source of truth, but they know they want to do more. They want to get a little bit more organized. They download Asana, and I think where I'm going with the question is it would be difficult just to take everything that you do in all those other places and get it all into Asana in one day. So like if someone lives that kind of organized lifestyle, or disorganized lifestyle, and they say, "Hey, I want to do better. I've downloaded Asana." Marquis, what do I do first? What is your advice? What is your day one advice to me to start getting organized in Asana?
You're describing my wife, Ben. She's that person. Notebooks everywhere, post-it notes, has Asana.
I've got them all over.
Of course, there they are. There they are. Yeah, I would say you can't do it all. You're right. You can't do it all in one day. And it's a tough one to answer because you have to have the mindset that you actually want to do this. There has to be a pain point there. And so my wife has ADHD. And so all these papers everywhere and everything, she forgets where things are, right? So the pain point there is great. You have all these pretty notebooks and everything's highlighted and whatever. But, when it comes to finding and recalling information, where do you go? You can't find it. And so there has to be a shift to say, like, I need to fix this thing. And that's where I think a tool like Asana comes in. So my tasks is your own personal view of all your to-dos. If you don't want to get caught up in all the project building and planning and dependencies and Gantt charts, then don't. But just where you would go and write something down, that's your new my task. You just go put in the task for yourself, and that's it. That's what I do. I don't have reminders on my phone. I don't use the notes app. I don't use anything. If I have an idea or something I need to do, if it's call the doctor or go buy, grass seed, I put it in Asana really quickly. It's on my to-do list for me. So I would say start there. Go on.
No, sorry. I was just gonna say, I think it is you bring up a big distinction there between what is a task and what is a project, because, I think sometimes, like, I'll get out my to-do list and I was like, this is my to-do list for the weekend. And I do that because if I check off everything here that I write down on a Friday afternoon, if I'm able to check it all off by Saturday, by Sunday evening, I'm a happy person, right? I've accomplished, I've done a lot, right? But I think sometimes when we write down tasks, we're really writing down projects. Like the project, might be clean the garage or organize the garage, right? That's a project. A task within a project is, let me go buy some racks from Home Depot, right? Yeah. And I think that, like, that's where sometimes people get overwhelmed by their own to-do list, right? And so, yeah, no, I like that you kind of like make that distinction a little bit there, because some people don't need to get into organizing their life projects and they can just break it down into tasks, right? So exactly. Yeah, it's a good distinction there. I didn't mean to interrupt you there. I want to move along because this is going great, but we're getting shorter on time. You talk a lot about and you have a dedicated spot on your Cirface website, as well as you talk a lot about it on your YouTube channel. Workplace burnout. Now, I've experienced burnout. Chelsea's hasn't been out of college that long, so she probably hasn't experienced workplace burnout yet. But it happens. It's a real thing. It's obviously a very important thing to you. It's obviously a personal thing to you. Tell us a little bit about when you think of workplace burnout. What is the story there, I guess?
You said we're short on time, so I won't give you the full version, but yeah, everyone experiences it a bit different, right? And so it started creeping in for me probably back in 2019, and then went into the pandemic, and that didn't make it any worse. But I was trying to do too many things. I was staying up really late at night, finishing all the tasks that I had to do because I was taking on everyone else's tasks. I wasn't delegating. I was trying to do too much, jumping in, saying, yep, I'll do it. And so for me, what that did is it manifested in me like just shutting down, right? Like I go really quiet. I go really silent. I shut people out. I ignore my responsibilities, and it was impacting my family. I wasn't there for my kids in the best way that I could be. FaceTime with my wife, like basically was non-existent, just like passing ships in the night. She'd kiss me goodnight. I go to my office, she'd go to bed, and I'd see her when I wake up in the morning. And so for me, it was affecting all the areas of my life. It was affecting my team. And I knew that I wasn't the only one. People on my team were experiencing it. And from the research that we've done, I mean, we know that 4 in every 10 people in North America is burnt out, right? You've got 10 people on your team, 4 of them are burnt out. And the question we often ask is, what are you doing about it? Right? Are you the cause of it? Are you giving them all the tools and resources that they need to get out of it? Do you have a way to track their work and capacity and their bandwidth, or are you just throwing stuff on their plates? And I think we've seen a lot of what that's doing to people and how it's presenting itself in different mental health spaces. And so it's something that, yeah, I'm really close to it. I struggle with anxiety myself. I'm a proponent of therapy and I take medication, but if we can come in as Cirface and fix the problem at the core by creating the systems that these people need to do their work better, but also have a better outlook on the work that they're doing, we really think they can have a better life. They can go home, they're happier, they're more engaged with their family, their friends, their neighbors. They're just all around a better person. So we're trying to help those individuals overcome workplace burnout so that they can have a better outlook on just everything around them.
Yeah, I feel like there's two sort of mindsets there. It's one, it's how do we avoid work burnout, and then what do we do about it once we get it, right? Because sometimes it's not avoidable, right? And you are, Marquis, you're a very ambitious person. You're a very successful person. You have twins and a family and then a business. I can only imagine, right? It's unavoidable at sometimes. I think the most important thing to do, in you say burnout, I think that you could very easily interchange that with mental health, right? In a lot of cases. And I think it's important to talk about it, right? And so I find it really refreshing that you talk about it and that you have it, you have it front and center on your website. So yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, absolutely. Let's move on. So the years, and I might have this a little bit wrong, but the years 2020, global pandemic happening, you've experienced the burnout. It's time for a change. You're getting more and more productive, or you're wanting to get more and more productive with Asana. Like you said, you're obsessed with Asana, and you're going. You say to yourself at some point, self, I'm gonna start a YouTube channel talking about Asana.
Yeah.
Take us through that. How did you? I mean, for one, I think it's just difficult for people to like I get nervous doing this, right? And I do this because our boss asked us to do it one day. But that's a big thing, the big project to take under, like, I'm going to become a YouTuber. And I'm sure that wasn't what you thought, but just tell us about your experience and what led you to start your channel, and a little bit about how that journey's been from then to now.
I can say, Ben, you're doing a great job. The live stream is awesome. So
Thank you.
So give yourself a pat on the back. Yeah, it's a fun story. I mean, 2020, I was doing the marketing agency thing. I was starting up this new consultancy. So I was running 2 businesses. And I thought, okay, I'm going to try and shift away from the marketing a little bit and move more towards ops. What can I do? But because I had the marketing background, I thought we always teach our clients, you got to create content, right? And like 2015, 16, 17, we kept hearing that this thing was coming, this movement where video would become the thing people are consuming online, right? It was no more static images. We'd see blog posts, readership go down. People are looking to video. And so I thought, this is my opportunity to start making video content. And at the same time, I was really learning Asana and had committed to getting deep into it because I wanted to become a partner and start implementing. And so I went on YouTube to look for various content on the platform to see how I can just become better at the tool and really learn it. And I was surprised to see that there wasn't a lot of content. There were 3 channels, Paul Miners, Louise Henry, and the Asana channel itself. And at the time, it was great content, but none of them answered my questions. And so what I did is I started just digging deep into the tool, reading everything I could, trying different things, different use cases. And then I started just simply documenting on video the things that I was learning that I didn't see out there. And I said, hey, if I need to know this stuff, other people may need to know this as well. I was talking about project management. I was talking about productivity. I was talking about how to manage teams because that's what I was doing. And so I was documenting all that, putting it out there, and people started to watch it. I released 5 videos at once, and then I didn't post again for 5 months, which is not a good thing to do, but people were receptive to it. They wanted more. They started giving me feedback and asking questions. And so it was from that I was able to get ideas for new content and realize that there was something there to really lean into. And so it's evolved. We've had ups and downs on the channel. It's growing steadily. And right now I can say that it is still our #1 driver of leads and new opportunities for Cirface.
Oh, wow.
And so it's something that I'm never going to stop doing. It may just change and evolve a little bit, but it's been a game changer for how we show up in the marketplace and provide value to our customers. So that's a little bit about the YouTube.
Very cool. So you said your twins are 8 years old. Do they say daddy's a YouTuber? What do they think that?
Oh yeah.
What do they think you do for a living?
They love it. They were watching a Mr. Beast video the other day, and one of my videos came up, and they're like, "Dad, it's you! Dad, it's you!" Or they'll see someone else
on the level with Mr. Beast. That's
right?
pretty cool, right?
Right?
Yeah.
Pretty cool. So yeah, and this morning we uploaded a video on Wednesday, and I hadn't seen it yet. So sometimes I'll watch the videos and just like critique myself so I can get better. And this morning my son's like, "Dad, are you watching yourself again?" Like, yeah. So they see me do that stuff. I'm conducting research, but yeah, they'll see me on there. And they saw another video with another guy, and they're like, "Dad, I saw a video on something about Asana." I'm like, "Was it mine?" They're like, "No." I'm like, "How was it?" Like, it wasn't that good.
Yeah,
they're like, they're very aware of what Dad
someone's
does.
getting on my dad's territory. Very cool.
Exactly.
Okay, so thank you for sharing that. If you're watching right now and you want to check out Marquee, I think it's a pretty easy search, right? Just YouTube Asana or YouTube Marquee Murray. Probably the best way to do it.
Exactly.
So before we want to do something fun after this, but before we do that, Chelsea, it looks like we got a few questions from the audience. Do you want to pop some of those up?
Yeah. So Charles asked, can Asana replace Motion as my AI auto scheduler?
Just going to say no for that one. I know Motion well. I've researched it. I've used it. Different use cases. Great tool. But I'm going to say no, it could not replace it right now for that use case.
Got it. Very good.
And Charles also asked, does Asana work well as an automated AI scheduler?
Sounds a bit like the last one. No, not yet. No.
Awesome. Let's see. Is there one more?
Yeah, it was from earlier. Shirini Vasan asks, is Asana scalable for larger teams?
Absolutely, it is. Their main market is enterprise companies. So yeah, absolutely. And that's a lot of the work we do. We work with a lot of the Fortune 500 companies, we often will go in and like start working with one of their teams. And then we realize that there's a connection through one of the workflows to another team. Maybe it's a legal team or a sales team. And so absolutely it's scalable. And we've worked with like marketing departments where we start with their branding team, and then we realize that there's some overlap in what the product team is doing. And then we start bringing them together. So absolutely it's a scalable tool, and it's built for large organizations.
Yeah, that's a shout out to Srini. Srini was our guest last week, and he is the integrations product manager for it's escaping me. Survey Sparrow. Sorry, that was about to be embarrassing. Srinivasan is a good friend of IFT, and he actually runs a team. So yeah, maybe we'll find Survey Sparrow using Asana at some point.
Srini, send me a DM. I think we had a call with you guys a couple of days ago, or some members of my team did. We're looking for a new survey tool, so let's connect.
Oh, very cool. Cool. We're bringing people together, right? Everything works better together. So, okay. So at this time, we want to try to do something fun. Finally, Chelsea and I have each put together 2 applets. We've put together 2 Asana applets and 2 YouTube applets. And we're going to pitch those to you. And we want you to give, I guess we'll do a scale of 1 to 10. And I want the audience to hop in on this as well. So we're each going to show you 2 applets, and we're competing, right? So she's got 1 of each. I've got 1 of each. And at the end of the first 2, if you'll give us a grade from 1 to 10, right? Okay. So Chelsea, you'll go first with this one.
Okay. So my first applet, my Asana applet for you, Marquis, is triggered by the mobile widget, so that anytime you add a quick note on your mobile device, that note then becomes a task for a specific project on Asana. So I know this may seem a little redundant given you have the Asana mobile app, but I was thinking that this could be a great way for, your wife or kids to add items onto the to-do list.
The honey-do list.
Yeah, the honey-do list.
You want me to rate it?
Okay.
Or critique it right
Don't
now?
rate it, but just give us a comment before you rate it.
I don't know if I'd go for that one.
Is this something you would use?
Really?
No, probably not. My wife uses notes, and I say, babe, like, just put it in Asana. Like, I'm not going to look at it. Don't tell me about it. Don't put it on our calendar. You want me to do it, put it in Asana. So, I mean, I guess so, but I wouldn't encourage them to use another app to get it into. Just use Asana. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No.
Sorry,
All right.
Chelsea.
So, yeah, no good for Chelsea. All right. So let's see if I bomb as bad as Chelsea did. Okay. So my applet fires every time a new task is completed in Asana, and that then tells IFT to tell the Capital Savings app or one of the other savings apps on IFT to save towards a goal. So and then it puts a record of that savings in a Google Sheet. So the way that I envision this working for you, Marquis, is, let's say I know your kids might be of the age where they're doing chores. So let's say they do a chore and then they mark that chore completed. And then they, you put $5 back towards their college fund or something like that every time they complete a goal. And then in 18 years or 10 years from now, they can see all the chores that I did paid off, and this is spending money for college or something like that. So what is your comment? What's your comment on this? And then would you use this and then give each of us a grade on a scale of 1 to 10?
Take my money, Ben. That I would use it hands down. Yes. Our kids are absolutely at the age that they're doing chores. We have on our fridge 2 laminated pieces of paper where they can do chores in the morning and the evening, categorized by rooms in the house. And so they do that, but sometimes they will check off a few things that they didn't do. And then at the end of the week, they have to add up how much money they got. We just pay them 50 cents a chore kind of thing. And so it adds up quickly, but yeah, sometimes they cheat it a little bit, or they get a bit more than they actually, made that week. So this would be great. We'd have a little iPad or something by the fridge. They would check it off. it would go in here, and then we could tie it all. I would absolutely use this. Yes.
Very cool. Yeah, there's the Capital Savings app. There's also one called there's Monzo, which is I think maybe only available in the UK and Europe, but then there's one called Rooster Money, which is like it's designed for families and joint bank accounts and stuff like that. So that might be one that where they could like I think it like parents put money in there and then it goes to a card for the kids. So Rooster Money might be a good one for you.
We use Mido. Mido's a good one.
Mido, okay.
Yeah, we can see their accounts. We can transfer it. It's connected to our bank account, and they're always tracking in there. They've got their own little bank cards with Mido, so they can go and tap it wherever they go. So yeah,
we need to get Mido on the IFTTT platform then. Yeah.
There we go.
Okay, so I guess next step. So all right, so grade from 1 to 10 for both of us.
Oh my goodness. Chelsea, I'll give you like a 6.5.
Okay.
Ben, get Mido on there, and I'll give you a 10. But for now, I'll give you a 9. Almost there.
9. Okay, wow. So I got a 9. Chelsea's at a 6.5. Okay, Chelsea, you got 3.5 points to make up here.
Okay. Right. So this applet is designed to streamline your social media management. Okay, so every time you publish a new video to YouTube, it will take that YouTube video and automatically share it to your socials like Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn.
10.
Nice.
10. All right. Okay. Well, that was easy enough. So you're at a 16.5 right now. So I've got to get like a 7 to beat you, I think. So let's go.
Yeah, I love this.
Hear the mine.
Absolutely love that.
Okay. So I kind of cheated on here because this is supposed to be a YouTube applet, but it's an Asana kind of a YouTube applet. And so the way this one works, Marquis, is when you add a new project, so it fires when you add a new project into a specific folder, or I think they call them projects in Asana. And what it does is, so like the way it would work for you is you have a YouTube folder or YouTube project, right? And then you add an idea, right? You jot down a note of like what an idea could be in Asana. And then IFTTT will take that idea from Asana and it'll query our AI YouTube assistant. And then it'll generate possible titles, hashtags, an outline, a description, and a script for that video. And then it'll send those items to a Google Doc. Now, this isn't something that you're supposed to. It's basically kind of a writer's block, a way to beat writer's block, or a way to like envision your, thing. Obviously, you're going to change it a lot, like we do all AI tools, but it's a way to get a head start on your videos. So, scale of 1 to 10. What do you think about this one?
Oh, okay. So after the Google Doc is at the end. Could we have that come back to Asana? Because that would be great.
Yeah, I think I'd have to see what's available, but I think because the actions for Asana, I think I looked into this, maybe not, but there might be a way to, what you would do is you would do it like elsewhere, right? You would do it in a note widget or something like that, and then it would create that project with all of those items because it creates a new project. Okay. I don't know if you'd want to create a project and then create another project right after it, but maybe there's a way to update it. I don't know. But we could work something out, I think.
Okay. What I'm thinking is, we have a video production project for all of our YouTube videos, and we have a form, an Asana form where we can submit an idea. So basically, the form would submit the idea. The bot would say, all right, do all the research, title, hashtags, outline everything. And then I guess the sheet would add, or the doc would work as a repository maybe. And then it could pull it from there, put it back in Asana. That would give you a 10. Ben. Yeah,
you could do. Okay, I'll take the 10. We'll take the 10. So that gives me a 20. So Chelsea, I'm afraid I won here. Yeah, sweeping victory for me. Thank you for that. Yeah, I think that what you could do, you could create it elsewhere, and then, or have like your, I don't know, be a place for like your team to like add like stuff, and like you could do it in a Google Doc, or you could do it like, rows on a spreadsheet or a note widget. But there's different ways that we could create the project, I think, in Asana. Yeah.
Right.
Very cool. So, so I win, and I've got bragging rights for the next 2 weeks. Thanks for playing. Thanks for doing that for us, Marquis. That was a lot of fun.
Thank you,
Of
Marquee.
course.
Okay, so at this time we've had a lot of activity in the chat today. I want to thank Charles for being so active in the chat. Charles, we are picking you as our winner for the jacket that I'm wearing now. It comes in 4 different colors. So if you would just send us an email at marketingif.com. So you're going to win the jacket and you're going to win a year of Pro Plus. So congratulations, Charles. Yeah, see, this is Charles got to put up a smiley face. Very cool. So with that, we're going to move on to our last section of the interview. This is a rapid fire questions. We call it rapid fire. Feel free to elaborate on any of these things, though, because we do have a few extra minutes. So are you ready for the rapid fire questions today?
Yes.
All right. Okay. So you play the guitar. What is your favorite song to play on the guitar?
Man. All of a sudden, you can't remember any song ever. I would have to say Southbound Pachyderm by Primus.
I got to write that down.
Yeah.
Pachyderm. Is that how you say it?
Pachyderm, yeah.
Okay. I'm going to have to check that out. Okay, cool. So that's the song you'd play. All right. So the next question is, living or deceased, if you could have one guest on your podcast or YouTube channel, who would it be?
Denzel Washington.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I've seen every single one of his movies, every single one. Man never ceases to amaze me. One of his sons is now acting, and just an incredible person, paved the way for a lot of great actors. Yeah, I'd love to sit down with him and chat.
Very cool. I hope it'll happen for you one day, I think.
I hope so.
Okay.
And he's just so cool. He's just so cool.
He is
all the
cool.
time.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. I was thinking about John Q the other day. I think because I'm a dad, I always think about like
That's a
one of
hard
the
one.
things that I really enjoy is like these father-son monologues, like the father figure son kind of or mentor mentee monologues, because I've got a son now. I'm like, what kind of dad do I want to be? And like John Q, doing all that for his son in that movie, I get so fired up by stuff like that. So
I know.
Yeah, Denzel, that would be a great one. Okay, so next question. You like to kayak in your spare time. If you could kayak on any body of water in the world, where would it be?
That's a good question. Probably the Mediterranean.
Okay.
Clear, beautiful water. Somewhere in Greece, probably. Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah. No, we can't argue with that. All right. So the next question is, you have twins. I assume that they're identical. We didn't get there, but have you ever got them mixed up?
They are fraternal.
Okay.
There are people that meet them people that know them, like have known them for years, still can't tell the difference. We get them mixed up sometimes if they have like the same haircut, or if they're like running away from us, or if it's like 3 o'clock in the morning and they're standing over our bed whispering, "Dad, can I snuggle with you?" But it's funny, when they were like babies up until probably 3 years old, like my wife and I could obviously tell them apart. We're with them all the time. If we look back at pictures of them now from like birth to when they're 3 years old, we cannot tell them apart at all. We have no idea who's who.
Oh, wow.
I can confidently say we probably didn't mix them up, but if we had to pick them out now, I'd have no idea.
I always wonder, I'm sure it happens more than people realize, where you got 2 identical twins, and you've got a crib for this one, and you got the name on it, and you got the crib for this, and you have the name on it, and then one day when you're just like busy, you just set them down,
tired,
and from that moment, they are the difference. It's like John and Jerry, right? Grow up, and really John is Jerry and Jerry is John. I'm sure that happens. So
I have friends that have admitted that that's probably happened to them.
Oh,
and
wow.
there's just nothing you can do about it, right? Like
Yeah.
You'll never know.
Very cool. So, okay. So you live in Nova Scotia.
Yeah.
I did some research on Nova Scotia before we met today. There's obviously seafood, Celtic culture. There's the Halifax Citadel. There's a thing called the Bay of Fundy, which I'm sure you kayak through. There's like, I don't know,
Yes.
like 180 lighthouses, which I think lighthouses are cool. I've never actually been in a lighthouse, but maybe one day I'll get to stay in one. Maybe there'll be an Airbnb lighthouse. But Nova Scotia, basically, I'm getting at is it seems like a bucket list type of place to visit. Tell us your favorite part about Nova Scotia.
A big or outdoorsy person. I love the water. I love the water. And so one of those lighthouses that you mentioned is Peggy's Cove. It's a really famous lighthouse here. And so to be able to drive 20 minutes to Peggy's Cove and stand on the rocks and just look out at the open water, like you can't beat that. Seafood helps. But for us, it was really just the space. We live in a place where we're in the middle of the forest. I mean, all the trees are burnt now, but we used to live in the middle of the forest. We're on a body of water. And so that's got to be it for me. And like, I travel quite a bit for work too. When you fly over and you just see all the vast trees and the bodies and the lakes everywhere, it's like, there's nothing else like it. So just being able to be outside and experience that. We have 2 dogs and they get to experience that as well. Our kids get out and just play with the rocks, go swimming in the water. Like, yeah, we didn't have that where we were before. And we were looking for more of that, just being able to enjoy nature around us. So that's the big draw for us.
Very cool. Well, Marquis, this has been great. I've enjoyed this. I'll always remember this interview. This was one of the best ones we've done so far.
Awesome.
Marquis Murray, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, thanks for joining us.
It was great being here. Thanks, Ben. Thanks, Chelsea.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll say goodbye now, and yeah, everyone have a great weekend. And Chelsea and I will be back in 2 weeks.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.